as our facility manager, building superintendent. John does a terrific job. In 8 years, when we were putting this together, 8 years, there's been no heat calls. Just think about these old buildings with the existing furnaces and so forth, and in 8 years, no heat calls. That's remarkable. Now, we bumped up the maintenance end of things on this budget because of last year, and again, Steve O'Leary was very vocal about, you gotta get more money in this program, because even the cosmetics look like hell. So the overall maintenance was to deal with exterior, interior cosmetics, as well as HVAC systems and so forth and so on. Now, that was cut, and I understand why it was cut. We're looking for a balanced, level budget. And then we also in that, by the way, that account, flagged the new police station, because it's bigger, and it's gonna need custodial services, it's gonna cost more heat, and you know what else? When we did the library, when you match an old building to a new building, it's always fraught with problems. You can't get away from it when you match. It's just hidden stuff that comes up to haunt you. In the first few years of that library, we were chasing fires over there, big time. Yesterday, the bathrooms froze over in the lobby. There were ice in the toilets in the new police station. So the ice had to be broken up, and the doors have to be left open to try to circulate whatever air is in the lobby so they don't freeze up. And what's going to keep them from freezing now is that we're getting a good thaw. It's a brand new building. Don't ask me why it caught, what's the problem, because I don't know yet. We'll know maybe by Tuesday. But this stuff happens. And we don't have the ability. We have to call in our vendor services. John will have to make those calls, Winchester Mechanical, and we got to pay those people. So I don't have a lot of confidence that the budget that we have as it stands is going to survive. But that's just my honest input.
David, I felt for a long time, I've been vocal about the issue of building maintenance, and if we can get some of the things that need to be done defined more along the line of capital, and we take a look at capital expenditures a little later. I'm not talking about miscellaneous capital, but capital. I think we have an obligation. We put together a plan using the Berry money. We started that in last October to set a stabilization fund, and the intent of the fund was to, in fact, at least from my perspective, to increase our capital spending in the area of our facilities. So I think as we get to that point, you should be prepared to come in with recommendations. I know there's an overall capital plan, but there are a number of things that clearly need to be done. I know we got to fix the soffits finally, get rid of the birds living in town hall and things like that. And the roof is on the list now to be done. But there are other things they need to be made visible so that we can address them. It would be at least my intention to propose that we bond some of these building maintenance issues.
Yeah.
If not in April, in October time.
We'll need, just so you know, when we go forward with that capital request, we're going to need some architectural services in there. We're just going to need some help to develop where we should go first and how much we should spend in certain areas before we're throwing money away versus, again, building towards some creditable return of the building. The other thing we need to do, and we'll have to do, in terms of maintaining the buildings are the warranties, for example, and our responsibility to make sure that we're not neglect in maintaining anything, for example, at the new police station, that would impact the warranties that are out there. So it isn't as though we're gonna say, we don't have the money, therefore we can't do it. No, we have to do it. If it means this account is spent out, and we have to come back in October, that's what I'm saying. We have to spend the money.
As far as the repairs and maintenance budget, that 52,400, I guess it's more towards Greg, but the difference is $25,000
Right.
between the level services and what's being proposed. Is that just a $25,000 flat?
No.
You know, were there specific items that were called out and decided to
There was,
defer?
there was $25,000 that, was earmarked for repairs to HVAC, facilities in town buildings, and that's the amount that was taken out, was the funds that were for HVAC. Again, as the chairman pointed out, our thought was is that we could, roll those items into a capital request and put that forward at the October town meeting. We saw the merits of it, but it just turned out that we couldn't make the budget work with those dollars remaining.
So the hope is, again, not to necessarily defer the maintenance,
No, just to defer it
just
until we
to
can get
pay for it a little differently.
pay for it a little differently than what we have. And I think I just wanted to clarify something Dave said. We don't have a building maintenance, we don't have a lot of personnel, we don't have a staff. So in this department, through Dave's efforts and John Walter's efforts, if something's wrong, we need to call in service people and contractors to do this work. We don't have a fleet of personnel who are trained. Some departments have plumbers and electricians, and those people work on staff. We don't have those tradespeople. This is a bare bones department as it exists right now. I think they do pretty well with what they have.
This is more along the lines of the fact that in that one area, there's a wide diversity of skills,
Right.
and tools that are
Correct.
required. Therefore, it's more effective and efficient to use outside
Yeah.
services.
Just like us, I mean, how many times we do a bridge? You hire a structural engineer to
Where
do.
the opposite takes place in the case of
Here.
vehicle maintenance.
Exactly.
You know, it's interesting though, when we have major projects like roof projects, painting projects, outside painting projects, we bring in outside contractors. Anything that we bid out, we have to bid out with prevailing wage. Typically, the prevailing wage laws result in us paying about 25% in addition to what a normal project cost would be, just because the wage rates are high. So it's a double-edged sword that as we call in these outside contractors to do major work for us, there's a price to them, and we pay for them.
Any other questions regarding public buildings, or Dave, you have any other comments?
No?
Is that a
Are we go-
wrap on your
Are we
budget?
gonna have, to the TA, I guess, are we going to have our department heads address the benchmarking reports and maybe just talk about what some of the differences or nuances to what was reported in that in relation to their budget? And I knew in this particular case.
I have a couple questions regarding that.
Okay, I was just wondering how we're gonna handle this going forward in the budgetary process. To me, I would like, I assume, I hope I'm correct, that department heads along with the administration have gone through the report, looked at the different nuances to the findings, and maybe taken a look at, first of all, explaining whatever differences there may be as far as deviating from the norm, and then, has there been any other contact with other communities in relation to what they may do it differently than what we do?
I'll be
Maybe we're
glad.
doing it well.
I'll be glad to, I was prepared to address benchmarking when I was done with the deliberation on the operating budget. So I'll be glad to do that when we're done with this.
But, I mean, I just think.
And I think
it's the
everyone
appropriate
will.
time to just discuss it, even if it's just initially.
The next is a fun area for the board, sanitation. If you look at your handout, your last page, handout, bring you back to where we were when we previously met, which was some months ago. And since then, I have met numerously with finance. As we put the budget together, right now, the program is extremely successful. The solid waste program is extremely successful in that it's financially sound. The 1 day a week service with every week recycling has been a home run. Our public relations, our customer satisfaction is at an all-time high, and the town is clean. And the rate has been able to be stabilized at 180 per household per year. Now, the question during the presentation of looking at pay-as-you-throw, the board asked me, specifically with the recycling committee present, what, and I think it was Bob Nasseri, Bob asked me, what is the best form of recycling? I said, well, pay-as-you-throw. If you want to maximize recycling, to my knowledge, the best program would be pay-as-you-throw. You're forcing people to buy bags. They don't want to buy bags, therefore they'll recycle more. They're also going to throw it in swamps. They're also going to go into the woods and hide it. They're also going to put it in our public disposal dumpsters. We'll put locks on them, and the next day there'll be 20, 30 bags surrounding the dumpster on the ground for you to pick up and unlock and put it in. I've been through this in a number of communities, and I'm not saying it can't work, but if you flip to pay-as-you-throw in this hybrid, and I'll go over the details with you in a minute, I just want to stay philosophically on the differences. If you have a program that's successful and it's financially sound, if you're going to change it, you want to change it so it's equally or better than what it is now. I can't guarantee that if you make a change. I just can't guarantee that, because I can anticipate some of the problems, and if I do, then we need more resources to interface with us. We're not empire builders here, and it means then we'd have to take public works forces, probably some help from police resources, to do police work in terms of rubbish. You're going to have to clean up the messes and take it somewhere. Police department's going to have to probably do random sampling of rubbish to find out who it is and find them, and so forth and so on. Just some examples. So, my the recommendation from the DPW right now is status quo. I can't see immediately going into pay-as-you-throw. We have $201,402 in stabilization. That's Neswick stabilization. That will be reseated because we bumped up the current budget, anticipating high tonnage. The recycling committee been tremendously effective in public relations. We've sold, I can't tell you how many extra bins families have out there. If you drive around town, you'll see every week 2 bins out per household in many households, which is great. Our tonnage is down. The tonnage down, and the money that we had asked to seed up to cover those additional tonnage, when the year is over, will not go into the general fund. They'll go back to Neswick stabilization. So that 201 is what we have now. Joe, does that 201 include 120,000 for this year's budget or not?
No,
Okay.
no, it doesn't.
So roughly half of that would